Denise Hurley. I'm the host of Harmonies. Welcome to our show. And I have here today Denis Coughlin. Welcome to Harmonies, Dennis.
Thank you, Denise.
And
Thank you.
Dennis is a singer-songwriter
Singer-songwriter.
in the area. And you're from
Princeton.
Princeton.
Well, I'm actually from Quincy.
Oh, really?
I'm a transplant. Yeah, I've
Oh.
only been out here 30 years or so. So the natives have finally gotten around to saying hello. You know, they don't want to waste a good hello on someone, you know. But I love Princeton. It took me a long time to get acclimated, though.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, the first night I was lying in bed, where are the fire trucks, you know? Why is it so quiet?
Right, right. So let me ask you, how long have you been on the music scene here in Central Mass?
In Central Mass?
Yeah.
Well, since I moved out, my wife and I got married in the early 80s, and after that we eventually moved back to Princeton, and so I found the scene to be pretty hip scene. At that time, there was a place in called the Old Vienna Coffee House.
Yes,
You remember?
I remember that. Yep.
And I had just entered this competition called Kerrville Folk Festival.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
You know this?
I am. Mm-hmm.
So, for some miraculous reason, I was picked as one of the finalists.
Really?
So I went to Kerrville,
Okay.
and you know, with the Final Four, I was in the Final Four. And when I came back, I got some airplay, but I didn't really have a project.
Okay.
I had just a few demos. So during that time, I recorded my first album and got some airplay and toured the North Shore. We did some shows but mostly we did a couple of features at Old Vienna.
Okay.
And then, but it took me so long to come out with my second record. There was such a big gap. There was sort of a pause. And so I, whenever that happens, you have to stop and then restart and then stop and then restart and then
Right.
stop and
Right.
restart.
Mm-hmm.
So, but that was in the 90s. My first
Okay.
record came out in 92. My second record came out in 2003, I think. And my third album came out in 2000. Nocturnal Pop Journal
Okay.
came out 2006 or 7.
Uh-huh.
And I have another one kind of ready to come out again. It takes me a while. But I get so involved in these other projects
Sure.
that, you know, because I took up painting.
Okay.
And so when the next project is finished,
Uh-huh.
then you know how it goes. You record it, then you produce the manufacturing, and then you get it, and then you get on the phone, you call everybody, and you book some dates, and then you go out.
You wrote on tour.
So here's a song called On a Summer's Day that hopefully will help coax summer after this long, hard winter that doesn't seem to have any end to it. Here's a song called On a Summer's Day. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. On a summer's day like today, I can dream that world away. Crimson cardinal prunes his blooms, celebrates the month of June. Butterfly in the mulberry bush, and no one's in a rush. We'll swing and sway on a summer's day. On a summer's day like today, that world to pay. Rusty tractor in the weeds, lazy lawn is gone to seed. Cat crawls up to take a nap, we'll swing and sway. On a summer's day, apologize tomorrow. Apologize tomorrow. Need some time to recharge for the world at large. Hold me closer than your heartbeat. Feel the silent moment that's so sweet. On a summer's day like today, don't have any dues left to pay. Backdoor screen, it needs cement. Have to wait till next weekend. There's no rush, no, there's no panic. Lay your head down in the hammock. We'll swing and sway. On a summer's day. Apologize tomorrow. Apologize tomorrow. Need some time to recharge for the world at large. Hold me closer than your heartbeat. Feel the silent moment. It's so sweet. On a summer's day like today, we can dream that world away. Backdoor screen, it needs a man. Have to wait till next weekend. There's no rush, no, there's no panic. Lay your head down in my hammock. We'll swing and sway. On a summer's day. A little coat of hair. On a summer's day.
Can you give me an idea of where your inspiration comes for your songwriting? Because I believe you do a lot of your own songs.
Yeah. Yes, I'll do a cover, but I'll do it like Denis Coughlin's version of Willie Nelson or something. As a songwriter, and all songwriters know this, you write songs all the time, subconsciously, consciously. And sometimes the particularly irritating phrases that you have to think of the exact syllables that have to fit over these eighth notes, and that the pattern has to come exactly natural, and it can't sound forced, and you want to have it rhyme, but you don't want to have it, you know, be a cheesy little rhyme.
Right.
So this preoccupies you constantly. And when I'm when I'm getting ready to, present the project to the producers, this is all I'm thinking about. And my wife will look at me and she'll go like, So how does the process? I mean, it just with me, and then I rest.
Okay.
And I don't like to ever work to anything to death.
Right.
I like to have it flow, and so the little ideas for songs come whenever they come, and you have to be careful that you're alert to capture them.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're lucky enough, you can capture it in a way that it initially sparked you. Sometimes you have to wait till you're driving or wherever, and you get home and you go, what was I thinking?
Mm-hmm.
This doesn't make any sense at all.
Right.
But yet, when you were there, whatever you were doing, it's like, oh yeah. So, I don't know if that answers your question.
It does.
Oh, good.
It does.
Here's a song about songwriting. One, two times outside. I take my tools and ply my trade. I am no tinker, poorly paid. With craftsmanship this comes handmade. I give my song to you. With each creation I'm fulfilled. Patterns old but useful still. Old melody is finely milled. I give my song to you. Let it be the new horizon. Let it be that morning sun. Oh, let it work its world of wonder. Yes, the best is yet to come. So when the pressure cooker boils, troubles line up for the spoils. This will take the lid off all those toils. I give my song to you. Dun, 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 dun. Bum, 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 bum. Dun, with each creation I'm fulfilled. The pattern's old but useful still. The melody is finely milled. I give my song to you. I say, let it be the new horizon. Let it be that morning sun. Oh, let it work its world of wonder. Yes, the best is yet to come. So when the pressure cooker boils, troubles line up for the spoils. This will take the lid off all those toils. I give my song and I give my love, and I give my song to you.
You mentioned other projects, and I think that I had read that you do some music therapy for folks that have Parkinson's.
Yes, I do. It started with my art group. I do a portrait class every Tuesday in Princeton. Mm-hmm. Portrait art guys. So one of the guys in the portrait group has Parkinson's, and they had somebody from UMass came and started therapy with them with music, just simple row, row, row your boat kind of songs. They discovered that people with Parkinson's, it's very similar to this. Do you remember this country singer Mel Tillis? You might remember him. You guys won't remember him.
Yeah.
But he was this country singer, and he had the worst stutter. I mean, he was barely audible. I mean, it would be just... And yet, you put a guitar in his lap, and 1, 2, 3, 4, he starts singing. It was just perfect. His phrasing, So they discovered that it's a similar thing with Parkinson's because your brain has 2 hemispheres, and certain things that you do, motor functions and intellectual functions, are separated, and that if music comes from that side, the side that you don't think about,
Right.
you know, you don't think about walking or breathing, or you just do it,
Right.
you know, and music comes from that side of your brain. So that's the only knowledge I had. So I went and started to work with these folks who have Parkinson's, and I've only, I've been a music director in my church, so I only know how to do it one way. So I just assume that they're singers and they're going to do it this way, and this is the song. And, I don't care if you get a few hurdles. We all have hurdles. You know,
Right.
we're not going to let anything, get in the way of our quality of life. So I started music therapy, and they said, well, why don't we put on a show? So
Really?
I said, that's a great idea. So we put on our first show at St. V's, and it went over well. But what really went over well was their self-esteem and their confidence. So after a year and a half now, we've done 8 concerts, and we're getting ready for spring. There's a whole line of venues that want us to come for the inspiration. Plus, we sound real good, and it helps the people who are, for whatever reason, in these facilities. Gives them, like, oh wow, if they can do it, we can do it.
So you work with people in the hospitals, and
We go to the hospitals. We go to the Holden. We go to there's a place over on across from the Big Y in Worcester, up there on the hill.
Okay.
I think that's St. V's.
Yes.
UMass.
Okay.
We do this Parkinson's associations all around. There's one in Berlin. There's one in Concord. We went out to Concord and played for them. So we have a guy who markets us, and he calls these places, and if they're available, if they have a venue, we'll play there if it fits our schedule. So it's like a real vocal group now.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Wow.
Yeah, and they do it. I tell you, the tears sometimes come streaming down. I just go like, because you take them away from this situation, and these people. I'll tell you a quick story. This woman came to me and said, the worst thing, people with Parkinson's very often have a shake. So she said, the worst thing is I can't spoon out my coffee into my filter. And I want it to have just the kind of coffee I like.
Right.
So, but every time my hand shakes, so it goes all over the counter. I said, don't worry. Meanwhile, I have no idea what I'm talking about. I just said, next time you do this, take that spoon and sing, row, row, row your boat gently down the stream, and you'll be able to, and you won't spill a granule. Next week. It's a miracle. It's a miracle. I can have my coffee now. So a little bits of encouragement, a little bits of positive reinforcement, a little bits of this or that go a long way. And our motto is, in this Parkinson's group, we won't let anything get in the way of the quality of life we demand. And, if it takes us a little more work, we're willing.
Amazing. And how would folks know about the shows? Is it
The Parkinson's group?
Yes.
I don't know if I have any promo with you, but I can get that to you.
I think that would be great for people to know about it and how to reach the venues and find out what time they are
Yeah.
and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Great, great.
I think this song stands well enough on its own with the political climate and the discussion about the Second Amendment. I think this song stands on its own. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. What would John say? What would John say? What would John say now? If he were here today, we could hear him play. What would John say now? Why do we carry such aggression? Why do we revel in revenge? With every hateful expression we suspend what we can't defend. What would John say? What would John say? What would John say now? If he were here today, we could hear him play. What would John say now? On the sidewalk in Manhattan, from the shadow comes the pain. Through these decades we still suffer, again and again, again and again. What would John say? We could hear him play. What would John say now? All right. Why do we carry such aggression? Why do we revel in revenge? With every hateful expression, we suspend what we can't defend. What would John say? What would John say? What would John say now? If he were here today, we could hear him play. What would John say now? What would John say? What would John say? What would John say now?
Now, the other thing you mentioned was your painting. That's a different piece of who you are and what you do.
Yeah, painting.
Yeah, could you talk a little bit about that?
My painting? Well, it started like this. I'm always good for a story, huh? I wrote this little... Thanksgiving in my house is all the nephews and nieces, and it's 75 people.
Okay.
And Uncle Dennis is called upon to read a story or tell a story the same way my father used to do, in the same tradition. He used to recite, I don't know if you know this, it was a famous poem in the 20s and 30s, The Cremation of Sam McGee. Did you ever hear that? At any rate, it's my job.
Okay.
So I wrote this poem. It's about 12, 14 pages, and it's rhymed. And it's a little story. And it went over, if you can capture the attention of some 13, 14-year-old kids, if you can pull them away from their phone, you have something. So it was a really good story. So I said, you know what? I think I'm going to make this into a small book, and I'll print up 50 copies and have them, for next year, little presents. So I went looking around for an illustrator, and there were some really good illustrators, but none really captured the anthropomorphic kind of character
Right.
that I wanted for these. One is like a Don Quixote figure, and
Right.
then another one is the ingenue and so forth. So I said, well, damn it, I'll draw them myself.
Mm-hmm.
So I started, and I thought, this is awful. So I signed up for the art museum, took a few drawing classes.
Okay.
And so after my second drawing class, the instructors came to me and said, this isn't too bad. You still suck. Can I say that? But this isn't too bad. You could do this if you worked at it. And I went, really? So I got a bunch of sketchbooks, and I just drew and sketched and drew and sketched and drew and sketched. Meanwhile, I live in Princeton, and there's a very vibrant arts culture in Princeton, and they have an art portrait class every Tuesday, which I mentioned. So I joined. I had no credentials to join this group, but they let me in anyway. So that was almost 2 years ago, and I've been drawing and painting intensively ever since. So much so that I'm going to have my first exhibit in September. And it's right here in Sterling.
Okay, I was going to ask you where.
It's going to be right here in Sterling at the Sterling Senior Center. So at any rate, you just kind of, that's how life is with me. It's sort of like, and so that's how I got into it. And there's a very close parallel between songwriting and painting. After having studied this, and while you might not understand this, to me, harmony, chord structure, which my songs are kind of harmony intense. I don't just have 1, 4, 5. So, but color and value are the equivalent of harmony. And in other words, this is a green, but this is a little bit of red added to the green, so it gets a little darker, it's a little grayer, or a little bit lighter, a little cooler, a little warmer, and so forth. This understanding color harmony is very similar to understanding music harmony. So I kind of figured out that early on, so that all of that work that it took me to learn about harmony in the music for the years and years, I could just immediately translate onto the, it's still, you have to learn how to draw a line, but to me it seemed a little easier.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
That does make sense, though.
Out behind my house, there's this little path that walks off into the woods. And it goes quite a way. And one day I decided to investigate, and I heard these wonderful, magical, strange sounds coming from deep in the woods. And here's what it was. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. If you go wandering in the woodlands, far removed from human view, you find out where they congregate, those animals that stay up late, play that rhythm and blues. There is a lonely set agenda, they only want to sing and play. Smiles on their faces when they unpack their cases, 'cause they've been hiding out all day. Midnight by starlight, moon on the pond, feathers and fur coats, rocking on, they're rocking on till the dawn, they're rocking on. Chipmunk plunks a 5-string banjo.
As you'd expect, the bear plays bass.
A rabbit named Veronica blows on her harmonica, and the fisher cat sings something in bad taste. There is a driving syncopation driven by a fox named Fred. When it comes to his percussion, there's no discussion. He is a funky quadruped. Midnight by starlight, moon on the pond, feathers and fur coats, rocking on. They're rocking on till the dawn. They're rocking on. As they sit around the campfire, they fall into a heavy groove. Bobcat Gorgonzola plays cheesy viola, and a spiny little hedgehog busts a move. After a while they take a breather, so they can rest their little paws. The beaver, who is Freudian, plays minor scales accordion, and the wolf lifts up his leg to mark the cause. Midnight by starlight, moon on the pond, feathers and fur coats, rocking on. They're rocking on till the dawn. They're rocking on. Ooh, rocking on. Rock. All right, here we go. As they play together, they're a happy bunch. They put away the notion the creature right beside them someday may be lunch. So when you hear the coyotes howling, hear the loons down by the lake, mockingbird and chickadee working out their harmony, 'cause that's the music nature makes. Midnight by starlight, moon on the pond, feathers and fur coats, they're rocking on. They're rocking on till the dawn. They're rocking on. Here we go. Womp, womp, womp,
Any other projects coming up?
Well, I do have a lot of projects going on, but I'm going to finish this last album, this recent album that I have. I have plenty of songs, but they have to hang together.
Mm-hmm.
When you hear the first one, you want to hear the second one. It has to make sense to and then they have the third one. It just can't be all over the place. And so I have to do that. Then I have to orchestrate it and get all the charts ready for Greg and Dave and so forth, because they just want to have the chart and come in and play it because they're so good. So when I get all of that done and finished, I'll be ready to. I'm probably record it this summer.
Okay.
And then have it ready for Christmas.
Sounds good.
So check it out. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Shed a little light on the darkness, spread a little sunshine on the day, show a little kindness to a bad situation, get up, make the dark clouds roll away. I can hear those skeptics express their doubt, like I don't know what it is that I'm talking about. I can testify to you, there's no sorrow you can't mend when you give your hand to someone who hasn't got a friend. Shed a little light on the darkness, spread a little sunshine on the day, show a little kindness on the bad situation, get up, make the dark clouds roll away. Yes, it's that simple, yes, it's that plain. The reason why we're here is to nurture and sustain. Don't turn your back on those who stumble on hard times. Everybody's got a love light, let your shine, 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 that shine. Yeah. Shed a little light on the darkness, spread a little sunshine on the day, show a little kindness to a bad situation, get up, make the dark clouds roll away. Yes, it's that simple, it's that plain. The reason why we're here is to nurture, sustain. Don't turn your back on those who stumbled on hard times. Everybody's got a love light, let your shine, shine, shine. Yeah. Shed a little light on the darkness, spread a little sunshine on the day, show a little kindness to a bad situation, get up, make the dark clouds roll away.
And can you tell our audience how they can reach you? Do you have a website or?
Not well. I let my website expire, but I do I'm on Facebook, and you can find me, Denis Coughlin, on Facebook, Denis Coughlin Princeton. And if you want to get a copy of this Nocturnal Pop Journal, you can just message me, and I'll be happy to send it to you. You can get it out, or you can see. You can become friends. We'll become friends on Facebook, and I promote all my upcoming gigs on Facebook. So
right.
That's a way to reach me. Plus, you can see some of my paintings.
Excellent. All right, Dennis. Well, thank you again.
Well, my pleasure. Thank you, Denise. Thank you.
All right. And it was a pleasure.
Yeah.
And this is Denise Hurley from Harmonies, and thanks for tuning in. Thanks again. Bye.
Midnight by starlight, moon on the pond, feathers and fur coats, rocking on. They're rocking on till the dawn. They're rocking on.